An elderly gentleman walks into a grocery store, and as he is going about his business, he's not in a big hurry. He's retired. He notices today he's not in a big hurry. He notices a young mom with a 3-year-old little girl, and they happen to cross paths in the dreaded chip aisle. Have you ever been to a grocery store with a 3-year-old? There are 3 places that bring you great dread. The first is the chip aisle. And as he's passing this mom and the little 3-year-old, the 3-year-old is literally reaching to pull things off the shelf. You remember that time of life where you just drive right down the center of the aisle, hope to try and keep the little hands from grasping? And he hears the mom say, this is the last errand, and then we'll go home. This is the last errand, and then we'll go home. And he notices her saying that, and they go along their way. And as they're wending their way through the grocery store, the next place that he comes across her is in the dreaded bakery. You know how at Disneyland, when you walk in and they're pumping out smells onto Main Street? I'm pretty sure they do that at the grocery bakery as well. The smell of donuts just does something to your olfactory senses. And the little girl, of course, is crying for a cookie. There are cookies and donuts, and the 3-year-old, as all 3-year-olds do, wants a cookie. And the mom says, listen, Monica, we're almost done. We just have 2 more aisles, and then we're going to go home. It's okay, Monica. We've got this. Okay. So he wins on his way, and the next place and the final place that he ends up in line behind the duo at the checkout counter, where there is the dreaded, the candy and gum, for the love of all that is holy. By the time we get there, we are completely done and have no willpower left. So, of course, the little girl is trying to grasp whatever she is within her reach. And the mom goes, okay, after this, we can go home, we'll have lunch, we'll have a nap. We're going to have a lovely nap. And as she's bagging up her groceries, the gentleman is starting to, unload his, and he just looks at her and he goes, I don't know you, but I just want to acknowledge how gracious and kind you are with Monica, and how gentle you are with her needs, and how you never once raised your voice at her. And the lady says, oh, my name's Monica. Her name is Tammy. I tell you this story today because I want you to know I have been all 3 of these characters. I have been the little girl reaching and grasping for that thing that I think is going to make me happy, the shiny object that is over there, that if only I can have this thing, then I'll be happy. I have been that mom who is just trying to use the tools at my disposal to get through this moment and stay calm and use kindness words. I've also been the gentleman. I have been that person who notices the things around me and acknowledges the people around me in the best way I know how. Way to go. Way to do a good job here, right? Guess what? I was all of these things yesterday. And you probably were too. There is a very human thing that we do. Wayne Dyer talked about the be-do-have disease, the have-do-be. We have this thing where we think once we have this, then I will do this thing, and then I will be happy. So for that little girl, it was once I have this cookie, then I will eat it, and I will feel better. It's the have, do, be. What does that look like for us in our lives? Once I have a politician I like better in the White House, then I will be able to do some awesome things for democracy, and then I will be free. We do this as human beings. We do it all the time. We are that little girl with the have-do-be disease. When Dyer taught us that we actually have it backwards, the mom was a little bit more on point here. It's more about the be-do-have. Because the mom said, I am calm. This is my state of being. I am staying calm and kind. I don't have to do anything to be calm and kind and to have the experience of peace in my life. Peace despite appearances. I've been her too. I've had the wherewithal to recognize within myself when I need to call on those internal resources. In psychology, sometimes we talk about locus of identity. This is different from locus of control. Locus of identity is where are we putting our good? Where are we looking for affirmations of who we really are? Where are we looking to know who we are? Are we looking outside of ourselves for the next shiny object, for the cookie that's going to fill whatever metaphorical hole we think it's going to fill? Do we look outside of ourselves to know who we are, or do we look here? Do we look within ourselves to know who we are? The little girl has an external locus of identity. She's looking out here for her good. The mom has an internal locus of identity. She's looking here to be the good. I love this story. It's a funny little story, isn't it? But what about the man? What about the gentleman? What does he represent in our spiritual life? For me, we talk a lot in our New Thought communities and in our psychological circles. We talk about the watcher, right? The thing that watches our thinking. We all know that we think, but we also are aware of our thoughts themselves. It's one of the things that allows us to heal and not just carry trauma around. But here's what I noticed about the gentleman in the story. He saw a pattern, and he named it, and he got it wrong, didn't he? And oh my God, don't we do that too? Don't we? Don't we make up stories all the time about what's going on in life, and we name it. And because we name it, that becomes our reality. This is the human condition. Welcome to the club, folks. And we all do it. We are all three characters, and we all do it in every moment of our lives. And so the spiritual trick here becomes in recognizing where we are, what we're being, what we're doing, where we're putting our identity. Are we being a have-do-be, or are we doing a be-do-have, right? And once we have that awareness, then what? And that's what I want us to talk about today. Today's talk is called You, Me, Us. You, me, us. And our theme for April is belonging. It's belonging. I've done a lot of work on belonging in my life, a lot of my healing work. I didn't know it at the time. I wouldn't have named it this because we didn't have Brene Brown yet. But a lot of my healing work has been about belonging. And what I have learned is that belonging starts here. That I needed to belong to myself. That as we mature as human beings in our psychology, as we mature in our spirituality, we learn to take that locus of identity away from outside. It's very healthy when we're young to have parents to recognize us as good, right? That's part of a healthy psychological development. But the trick becomes in becoming psychologically and spiritually mature enough to stop looking out there for that reflection of who we are and to start looking within. Our spiritual truth will inform us in a much greater way, So in this little story about the grocery store that I told you, the gentleman, for me, represents not our highest wisdom self, because your soul knows everything. Your soul cannot get it wrong, right? He represents more of our internal watcher, our internal noticer, the thing in us that loves to make patterns and to put people in categories and to say this is good and this is bad. That is all psychologically appropriate. It's not always spiritually appropriate. So I want to make sure that for this talk, just for the next 15 minutes, that we are separating out the knower, the watcher, from the ultimate knower of our soul. The soul knows. The reason that I bring this up today is because I have learned for myself, I've learned in my own life, that until I was able to accept all of the parts of me, I did a darn good job rejecting some of the parts of you. Accepting all of ourselves, honoring all of ourselves, the parts that are needy and grasping and looking outside of ourselves, and the parts that are the highest wisdom self that can never be wrong, and everything in between, in order to fully honor the diversity of the world around us, we have to learn to fully honor the diversity within us. Okay, so I found this little video that I want to show you. I think that Cory Booker's team posted it because I'm pretty sure he was asleep when this video got posted. But this video says a little bit that I want us to talk about. John, can you roll that for me?
I think it's important to use whole words when we consider the topic of diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. Now, we can have a substantive debate over whether a particular DEI policy has been thoughtfully and fairly implemented. But why are we still arguing over the merits of diversity? Do you want everyone around you to look like you, sound like you, think like you, or come from the same place as you? If so, fine, but boy, you're missing out on the good stuff. Or what about equity? Who exactly should not have fair access to opportunity? And on what grounds? Lord knows they've all been tried. Geography, biology, morality, even the perversion of Scripture. And then there's inclusion, where we welcome those with different needs or perspectives from our own. And you can hear the language of exclusion from some elected leaders whenever they blame groups of people for attributes they can't control to justify taking away their right to exist among us. Now for them and those who adore them, I guess DEI stands for the dog whistle of earned ignorance. As for me, I'm more of a Big Tent guy. Anyway, this is my deviled egg instant noodle bowl, where every ingredient comes from a different place and offers a different flavor. But when given the opportunity to be included, it's easy to understand how they belong. It's like a recipe for human kindness.
Not only are we now having ramen for dinner, there's a couple of really good ramen places in LO. It's a recipe for human kindness. And we don't say, oh, these scallions are too green, so they can't go in. No, we say these scallions add exactly the pop of acid and the pop of color that we need to complete this meal, right? We don't say the soy sauce is too salty, so we're going to leave that out. We say salt is one of the fundamental 5 flavors that we need to complete a meal. And we include all of it without even thinking about it. Some of us overthink it, right? Salty, sweet, fatty, umami. I don't, what is umami? Nobody even knows. I don't know. We don't need to overthink inclusion, because all means all. And once we are really able to accept all of the parts of ourselves, it becomes much, much easier to accept all of the parts of each other. Some of y'all, I have heard stories and I have seen posts and I watched the news, and some of y'all had an absolute blast at the rally yesterday. Did y'all go to the rally? I know some of you were there. I was sitting in an 8-hour Zoom class. Y'all had so much more fun than I did. The latest estimates that I saw put the numbers across the globe at 5.3 million people. 5.3 million people, all 50 states and countries all across the globe, rallying for something. Rallying for democracy, rallying for peace, rallying for our Constitution. And I am fully convinced that out of all of those people, there were 5.3 million different life experiences, points of views, and opinions about what should happen. And it doesn't matter. That diversity of life experience and opinion and point of view only makes us stronger. It only builds a bigger pool of information for us to grow from, to build policy from, to learn from. And when we can all contribute equally to that shared pool of knowledge, you know what happens? Conflict decreases. Because we are no longer at loggerheads trying to convince someone that I'm right. Instead, we are all contributing to this beautiful soup and saying, now that we have so much more information, what good can we do now? What good can we do now? And this is how we, as spiritually mature and maturing human beings, do it. We contribute to the shared pool of knowledge. We honor all of ourselves, all of our needs, all of the places where we still have growth to do, and we allow others the same grace. And in that, we get to play together. We get to build a beautiful, fantastic soup by honoring it all. There was, in the 20th century, there was a politician. I think of him as a philosopher, but he's not. He's a politician, and a Nobel laureate from Northern Ireland, and he was a key architect of the Good Friday Agreement. Now, for those of you youngsters in the room who might not know, Northern Ireland spent centuries in conflict with Great Britain. And John Hume was one of the people who was able to bring peace with the Good Friday Agreement. And this is what he says about diversity. Difference is the essence of humanity. Difference is an accident of birth, and it should therefore never be the source of hatred or conflict. The answer to difference is to respect it. Therein lies a most fundamental principle of peace: respect for diversity. Respect for diversity is a fundamental principle of peace. I have never thought of it that way. I have often thought of education as a fundamental principle of peace. I have often thought of bridge building as a fundamental principle of peace, but I never really thought about specifically respect for diversity as a fundamental principle of peace. What do we know here at New Thought Center for Spiritual Living? Peace in our lifetime. Peace in our lifetime. And a fundamental principle of that is respect for all of each other. Now, I'm not saying that that's easy all the time. I struggle. I'm not going to pretend I don't. I'm not going to stand here and pretend that I don't have judgmental thoughts occasionally, on the very rare occasion, only on Wednesday mornings at 9. The rest of the time, I've got this. Sydney doesn't believe me for some reason. What I'm going to invite us into this week, the practice that I'm going to invite us into this week is twofold. First thing is I'm going to invite us to honor all of ourselves. If you find yourself pitching a fit in the shower tomorrow morning because you have to go to work and go to that meeting that you really, really don't want to go to, honor that. Honor that. Oh, look, I really don't want to do that thing. You know what? I'm probably going to do it anyway. But I can acknowledge and honor that there's a part of me, might be that 3-year-old little one in there, that doesn't want that. That's okay. That's okay. For me personally, one of the things that Michael and I worked with our children when we were raising our children is about noticing that resistance, honoring that resistance, and making a conscious choice about what to do. Because what that does is that puts you in the driver's seat. Oh, I'm going to go to work because I like my paycheck. Oh, I'm going to go to work because I'm going to save lives. I'm going to go to work because my kids that I'm teaching depend on me. Whatever it is, you acknowledge the resistance. You don't pretend it's not there. You just acknowledge it. But then you put yourself in the driver's seat and acknowledge why you're going to do whatever the thing is you're going to do. Maybe you're not going to go to work. Maybe you're going to decide that I need a day. I need a day. And you're going to make a conscious choice to have some PTO. Great. But you know why you're doing it, right? So the first thing this week is to honor and respect all of you. Notice where you are and put that focus of identity here instead of just bopping around the world and getting into trouble. So, number one, honor all of us. All of you, all of you. Number two, begin to turn that respect outwards and honor the tantruming 3-year-old that you see at the grocery store too, or on the TV, or at the dinner table. That metaphorical 3-year-old that is really struggling with something. What if in our quest to truly honor diversity, we honor all of it. We honor all of it. It doesn't mean we don't have healthy boundaries. It doesn't mean we're not a hard no for some things. But I can still honor you as a human being, see you as a human being, and allow you your lived experience. That is respect. So I guess the key word this week is respect, y'all. We're going to take that opportunity to respect ourselves, and then we're going to turn that outwards, and we're going to work on respecting those in our world. Are you with me on that? Okay, great. I think that one of the things, and I'll leave you with this, one of the keys to this for me, I'm just going to do with this what you will. One of the keys for me is curiosity. When we can get genuinely curious about that thing that looks, acts, and feels very different from how I look, act, and feel, when we can get genuinely curious, then the magic happens. And we're all capable of it. We're all capable of it. So, respect, and curiosity. Now, I promise this is the last thing. Honoring all of the parts of ourselves also means honoring our spiritual magnificence. you see, because there is that highest wisdom self that we were talking about earlier, that thing that knows all, sees all, is here for all of it, that thing that is that part of ourselves that has never been touched and never been harmed, that pattern of perfection that built out this body and this life for this experience, that thing, that divine wisdom self in you, that also needs to be honored. We aren't just honoring our tantruming 3-year-old. Life would get pretty boring pretty fast if that's all we did. But we are tapping into that great power within us and inviting it to have a portal out into our life and into our world. How do we do that? We do that through our spiritual practices. We do that through meditation. We do that through prayer. We do that through conscious communion with each other, calling each other, having that deep conversation, right? We do that through our spiritual study. But you know what we have to do? We have to get curious about that too. We don't just let it sit like a computer program running in the background and hope that every once in a while it puts something important on the screen. It doesn't work like that. I mean, it can and it does, but I know it'd be a lot easier if it just would. It is up to us as spiritually maturing people, humans, to develop that relationship with that highest wisdom self, to stop and to ask, what would love have here? What would love have for my life? What would love have for this community? What would love have for this country? During my lunch break yesterday and then in the evening, I watched some of the news of the rallies, and I've spoken with a few of you who were there. I saw Jen, I saw your post and Reverend Shannon's post, and here's the common thread from the outside looking in. Here's the common thread that I saw. Are you ready? Joy. Joy. Joy is an act of resistance, but joy is an act of God. God, as joy, shows up and learns through play. God, as joy, shows up and learns through loving kindness. God, as joy, shows up again and again and again. And instead of depleting us, it fills us up so that we have the ability to serve the world at a higher level. Okay? So while we're doing all of this noticing, make sure you're remembering and noticing your magnificence and that you're allowing that to have its way in your life. Are you with me?